Hi, and welcome to Yoga for Caregivers. My name is Janel Norton with Trinity Yoga. And today we're just going to go through a very gentle, maybe even more towards the restorative style yoga. So you might want to try to get a few props before we get started. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can just use any kind of a belt. So that might be something to get. A blanket is always handy. And if you don't have a bolster, a lot of us don't have bolsters like this at home. So if you don't have a bolster, just a couple blankets that you could fold that might be a little thicker for some support, because we're going to kind of work our way around the spine using a bolster or a few blankets as some props. All right, so we're going to get started either with your blankets folded or your big pillow would work too, something that's maybe a little more firm. And I'm going to take this to the side so you can see. You'll bring that right up to your tailbone, and then slowly take a deep breath in and engage the core, and slowly start to roll the spine down onto your bolster. And then if you're here and that feels a little much for your neck, that's where your extra little pillow or maybe a blanket would come in handy if you need that. And then from here, allow the palms to face the ceiling, and then you'll start to feel this nice big opening across the heart here. Just let that soften for a moment. And you can keep knees bent if this feels okay for the lower back. You can take legs long if that feels okay for you. Just kind of feel into your spine and see what you need. And the third option would be to incorporate a hip opener here. So for the hip opener, the closer your heels are to your glutes, the deeper the sensation will be. You can always slide the feet a little further away. Let the soles of the feet come together and the knees will drop open. And then if you're really tight in hip flexors and your legs are way up here, you can always maybe stuff a couple pillows or blankets or towels underneath your outer thighs so that you can soften. So wherever you are, just either take a soft gaze at the ceiling or maybe close your eyes. And you'll notice right off the bat here that you can feel that expansion and release in the torso and this gentle back bend. So just connect with that for a moment. And then from here, we're going to begin to draw the breath into the lower lobes of the lungs, this diaphragmatic breathing that we use throughout our yoga practice. So on your next inhale, start to draw the air into the lower lobes of the lungs. Feel the belly expand. The ribs get a little stretch. Sip air all the way up into the collarbones, filling up full. And then make that exhale twice as long as your inhale. Each inhale, feel that nice opening that happens throughout the whole front of the torso. And on the exhale, just feel the whole back side of the body melt into whatever surface is back there supporting you. The pillow, the blanket, or bolster. Let the head and the shoulders be nice and weighted and heavy here. If you're in this hip opener, maybe think about sending the breath on the inhale down into the hips and just feel that open. And then the exhale, allow that space to just soften and melt. You might even be able to connect with your heartbeat here with this mild opener. So just connect with any sensations that are arising here in this posture. Soften the eyes, soften the face. Just allowing the body to take on the shape that it's in here for a few more breaths. We'll take 4 more inhales and exhales. Make the breath really full if you can. Good. Go ahead and take one more deep inhale. And a nice long exhale. Good. If the eyes are closed, just flutter them open. If you have yourself in bound angle like I am, gently draw those knees back together. If your legs are long, draw the feet in so the knees are bent. And then from here, we're just gonna roll along to the left or right hip, whatever feels natural for you, and come up to seated. So from here, we're gonna take a very gentle twist for the spine. So this bolster, blanket, or pillow is gonna come right up to the edge of your hip, left or right. And then you're gonna take one hand to the one side of the bolster and the other to the other side of the bolster. And then you're gonna feel a little bit of a twist as you look towards the back of this bolster, pillow, or blanket. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And then as we exhale, start to lay the chest down onto this bolster. And again, if it's a little too far, you can always bring that bolster or blanket closer to you here. And then once you're on this, see if maybe you can get the left ear to come maybe to the bolster and just relax. Let the shoulders release here. And after a couple breaths, when the spine settles into this position, you might be able to take a deep breath in, take the head all the way over to the other side, and then let that opposite ear come down to the pillow. So if you're taking that, you're getting a complete twist in the spine from the crown of the head all the way down to the tail. You don't have to take that here. That's just an option for you. Your knees can be stacked or they can be staggered. Just feel into your spine here. It's not a very big twist. We're just going to take a few breaths. Let the body settle here onto the surface. Maybe close the eyes and keep those inhales nice and deep. So you'll feel that belly expand into the surface here that it's resting on. On the exhale, draw that belly button towards the spine. Get all the stale air out. Noticing if the shoulders or the jaw are still holding maybe a little tension, and just let that go. Try not to have any strain here. Just let things melt on each exhale. We'll take 4 more deep breaths in this position. Take 1 more deep breath. Nice long exhale. If you have that head turned to the back, go ahead and bring it back to neutral. Bring your hands underneath your ribs and press yourself up slowly, all the way up. Good. We'll just counter that for a moment. Take your hand down by your feet or your ankles and just take a nice little side stretch here. A couple deep breaths in and out. This one's called Mermaid, like you have a little tail here. Good. Take 1 more deep breath. And exhale, let that side go. Good. And we're going to take that twist on the other side. So go ahead and take your bolster, pillow, blanket, all the way over to the opposite hip that you just did. Let your feet and knees fall to the side. Get that bolster right up into that hip crease, along that outer hip. And then you're going to take one hand to one side of the bolster and the other to the other. Starting to create that twist by facing the back of the bolster here. Take a deep breath, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, just start to melt the upper body onto the bolster. Take your time. And then once you're here, one ear or the other will come to the bolster on this side. Each side might be a little different. If the neck is really cranky, you might not be able to take the opposite ear. Maybe you just stay here. Maybe you put another blanket or pillow here to support you if that feels better. And then just sink in. Take a couple nice long deep breaths. Knees stacked or staggered. Shoulders are heavy. The jaw is nice and loose. And we're just breathing here in this mild twist. Feeling the full support beneath you. As caregivers, you guys are always giving out to everybody. So what we're doing here is we're just trying to draw our energy back to ourselves for a little bit, even if it's just this 1 hour during the day that we take care of ourselves. Feeling supported. Deep breaths. We'll take 4 more deep inhalations and exhalations. Notice the difference in the stretch at the top of the in-breath and the softening on the out-breath. One more big inhale in. Nice, long, complete exhale. Good. If the head is turned, go ahead and bring it back to neutral. Hands will come underneath the shoulders. And then slowly press yourself up, nice and easy. And then taking that little mermaid on this side, go ahead and grab onto the feet or the ankle, raise that right arm up, and take a nice little bow to the side. Getting that deep stretch here along the intercostal muscles. Just breathe into that. Good. Deep breath in. Exhale, go ahead and release. Good. So we can take this boulder off to the side now, bolster, and then go ahead and come in to an easy seated position, crisscross, applesauce. Put your hands on your lap. Sit nice and tall, like somebody has a string on the crown of your head and drawing it up to the ceiling. Let the shoulders sink down and back. So we're trying to make space between the ears and the shoulders here. Nice long neck, and the chin is in line with the floor. Maybe think about letting your head just go incrementally towards the wall behind you, and you'll feel this like beautiful opening come into the cervical spine. So most of the day, we're on our phones, tablets, computers, and we're loading this 10-pound bowling ball at this angle, and it's really taking a lot of strain into the upper cervical spine. So see if you can find that natural curve of your neck that we lose doing that all day. Sit really tall, take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, we're going to twist towards the right. So take your left hand onto the right knee. That right hand is going to come right to the edge of your spine. Press into that right palm and get some length. And then as you exhale, use this knee as leverage to gently twist us over to the right. Notice if the shoulders start creeping up, let them glide down the back. And then maybe allow your chin to drift towards that back shoulder. Getting into this trap muscle here. Take a couple breaths into that. And you can stay right here breathing into that tight space, or sometimes it feels good to take a little movement with the breath. If you want to try that, take a deep breath in and draw the chin over towards your left shoulder. And as you exhale, let it glide back towards the right. Take 4 more breaths with or without movement here, whatever feels good for your neck. That's the only rule in yoga, really, well, 2 of them, that we're breathing and that we're not overdoing anything. You don't want to feel pain in postures. You might feel some uncomfortableness sometimes, a little stiffness here and there, but never pain. Just find your edge. If it does not feel good, then don't do it. Take 1 more breath. Nice, long exhale. Good. Go ahead and allow the head to come forward. Holding on to that left knee, or the right knee still with the left hand, inhale the right arm up. And then take that little lean again, getting a little different sensation now in that right lower back and outer hip. Reaching through those fingertips. Eye gaze can be wherever it feels okay for the neck. You can just be looking neutral, or maybe eye gaze follows up towards those fingertips. 3 more breaths. Both glutes are still attached to your mat, so don't come up and out of that right glute. Good, big breath in. On the exhale, use your right obliques to draw you back up and come all the way back to center. Let your fingertips come down to the mat in front of you. Big breath, lengthen. And as you exhale, just start to walk those fingers forward. So we're just hinging at the hips, keeping the back pretty flat here. We're not rounding, just kind of finding our edge, walking forward. You might make it to the forearms. It's okay if you don't. Stay up here if that lower back feels too tight right now. And then just feel into it here. You might want to take just a gentle little sway side to side and feel that lower back begin to open. Keep the breath flowing nice and deep. Shoulders are relaxed. Feel firmly rooted into the palms, the outer edges of your feet and shins and glutes here. Maybe as you start to find a little space, you might move in for these last 2 rounds of breath a little deeper. Good. On your next inhale, walk those hands back towards the shins. Nice tall spine. And we're going to take that on the other side. So notice which leg is crossed in the front. Just lean back and go ahead and switch. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and take this right hand to the left knee, left hand right behind the base of the spine. Use that kickstand behind you to press tall, find the length, and then use that right hand on that left knee as leverage to start to draw yourself to the left. And then notice how the neck feels on this side. Maybe glide that chin back towards that left shoulder, feeling out into this whole right trap. It's where we hold a lot of our tension in our traps. We're all like this all day. So let that melt, let that soften. And then you can decide if you want to stay here and just breathe, or maybe incorporate those opening with the breath here by inhaling, bringing the chin over towards that right shoulder, and then exhale, bring it back. Good, just connecting your breath here 4 more rounds with or without movement. Feel it if you're moving the neck and the head here with your breath, all those little crevices that are opening. Maybe noticing all those tight spots, starting to let go a little bit. Good, take 1 more round each direction here. If you're moving, just stay still if you're still. Nice, go ahead and bring that head all the way back to center. Keep holding on to that left knee with the right hand. Inhale that left arm up, and then start to make your way in a little arc towards your right. Feel along those left intercostals and breathe. Again, eye gaze can just be neutral, forward, or maybe you gaze up at that extended hand. Big deep breaths. Nice. 1 more inhale. Exhale, bring it up. Go ahead and face back to center. Fingertips come down to the mat. Nice long spine inhale here, and then exhale, start to walk it forward. Now, you might find that this side might be a little more cranky, or it might be a little more loose. So each side's a little different depending on what you got going on in the knees and the hips. So land here wherever you land. You might not be in the same position that you were on the other side. You might be deeper, you might be a little higher. So don't beat yourself up wherever you land, just breathe where you are. Shoulders drift down the back, crown of the head is reaching forward, keeping length in the neck. Nice deep breaths. Feel grounded here with any surface that's on the floor or in contact with something. Just breathe. If you find that a little space may have made itself available for these last two breaths, maybe edge in just a little bit more. 2 more deep breaths here. Nice. Go ahead and slowly walk your hands back to a nice tall spine. And then we're going to let our legs go straight and let all the blood rush back into the knees here. So go ahead and straighten the legs out, maybe give them a little tap off of your mat. Our next posture will prepare us for our forward folding. This is called staff pose. It doesn't look like much, but there's a lot going on inside. So we're heating the body from the inside out here. So start with your feet. Flex your feet, spread your toes, and then start to draw energy up the legs. Let your quads turn on. If you squeeze your quads really hard, you might find that you can lift your ankles off the blanket or your mat. So keep all that action in the legs. And then fingers face forward, palms right next to your hips. Press into the mat, get as much length in the spine here as you can. Shoulders are down and slightly back, opening across the chest. Pull the belly button into the spine, and then maybe a little tuck of the chin here. Take 5 deep breaths. You should feel maybe even a little shake happening in the body. So turn on any muscles that are not squeezing right now. Incorporate everything that you can. Very strong staff pose. Good. Take 1 more deep breath. And then exhale, let that go. Go ahead and roll out the ankles, maybe hula out the wrists. That can be a little rough on the wrists. Good. And then we'll take our first forward fold. So you have several options. You can use a blanket. You can put your bolster on your legs if you're really tight. You have your belt or a strap next to you. You can always lasso the feet and try to keep your back flat. So think about the shoulders again, down and back, crown of the head is nice and tall. Think about opening the chest by drawing the shoulders back. And I like to use this analogy that like you have a light at your sternum that you're trying to shine on the top of your feet. Take a deep breath, and then as you exhale, keep that flat spine and just draw yourself in. And then notice maybe you need to bend the knees a little bit. You can have those knees bent as deeply as you need them to be. Maybe the belly rests on the thighs. Take just a couple breaths here. Let the hammies just open up nice and naturally. So if you don't need a strap, some of you guys might be flexy. You can just go ahead and grab the feet here. Shoulders are down. We're breathing. Each exhale, think of drawing your belly button into the spine, trying to create a little bit of space in that lower back. Good. Take 1 more breath. Now, if you have your knees bent, you might be able to just straighten them just a little bit. Usually it takes a good 30 seconds to a minute to let your body know you're not going to overstretch, and you'll start to feel a little space come in. We're just going to move with our breath here with a slight little movement. On the inhale, coming into a half back, maybe hands come to the shins, and then exhale, melt back over those legs. I'm going to take 4 more like that. Inhale to a half back, draw shoulders down. Exhale, fold in. Inhale to that half back. Exhale, fold. Good, last time here. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold and hold for 5 deep breaths in your deepest expression. Notice the sensations happening in the back of each leg, lower back. Always give yourself permission to back out if you need to. If you're coming into something that feels just way too intense, you always have that option to back on out. Nice long exhale. And then as you inhale, stack one vertebra at a time. Coming up nice and tall. Good. So you can stay here with the legs long if you want, or you can come back into that crisscross. We're just going to work into another very tight area. So carpal tunnel is a biggie. If you're a caregiver, you're always writing and taking care of people. So these little areas in our wrists seem to get a little jacked up. So we're going to work into that here. So sit nice and tall, let your palm face the ceiling, draw the shoulder back into its socket. So take your left hand underneath and see if you can get a hold of your thumb on that right hand. Press your right palm forward, let those fingers drift down to the floor. Take a deep breath in, and then you're going to switch digits. Go ahead and find the index finger. Slowly and carefully draw it a little bit back towards you, getting that nice opening, deep breath. And then switch a digit. Inhale. Switch a digit. Inhale. Pinky, be careful with the pinkies. They're fragile. Good. Now grab all four fingers at once. Press that palm forward. Take another deep breath. Look at all that space that we just created in our wrist. And then go ahead and release. And then hula that hand out a little bit. It's like dental floss for this whole area here. Wrist floss. All right, and then we're going to take that on the other hand. So left hand faces the ceiling. Draw that left shoulder back in its pocket. Sit tall. Right arm comes underneath and gets a hold of the thumb. Go ahead and press that palm forward. Be gentle. Depending on what you got going on in each hand, you might have a little different range of motion here. Inhale. Go ahead and switch a digit. Inhale. Switch. Inhale. Switch. Good. Inhale. Careful with the pinky. All four digits at once. Inhale. Press that palm forward. Hold. And release. Nice job. Go ahead and hula that up. Nice. Now from here, we're going to come to hands and knees. So if you do have a blanket handy, you might want to bring that blanket with you. So it makes a little bit more cushion for the knees and feet. So go ahead and bring this wherever you need it. If you don't need it, not a big deal. We're going to have our wrists right underneath the shoulders and our knees right underneath our hips. Look right down in between your hands so that you have a nice neutral neck here. And these are called cat cows. You've probably heard of these. So we just bend a little bit into the elbows, just a tiny bit. And as we inhale, go ahead and let the belly fall and let the head and tail look up to the ceiling. As we exhale, we're going to round through the spine and we press the floor away, straight, strong arms, the head and tail drop, and we pull the belly up and in, feeling that nice space across the shoulder blades. So take a couple rounds like this. I invite you to maybe close your eyes. Sometimes when we close down that one main sense, our sense of sight, it allows us to connect very deeply with what's going on in the body. So really notice the spine here as we're gently opening through flexion and extension in our breath. And then you can also, as you're moving through these, feel free to stop along the way if you find any areas that are a little tight or sticky and make some wiggles. So these don't have to look any particular way. We're just trying to create some space in between each vertebra here with the breath and this movement. Take 2 more rounds each direction. Nice. 1 more round. Beautiful. From here, let your knees go wide. Let your toes touch. So we're going to make a nice big space for the belly to land. Let the glutes sink back. Come on down either to the forearms. Maybe melt the head and the heart towards the mat. If you're coming into this and the knees aren't having it, you can keep your hips high, or you have the option of taking your pillow maybe underneath you. So we're just breathing into that lower back here, letting everything soften. You can have hands stacked. You can have hands long in front. If you want to get a little bit more of an opening here for your triceps, you can bring your hands into prayer overhead. Let your forehead stay on the mat, and then bend the elbows. And just bring your thumbs to the back of your neck. And the more that you press into these elbows, the deeper the stretch you'll feel from the tips of your scapula blades all the way up into your neck. Again, we're connecting here with that grounding sensation, feeling the tops of the feet and shins all the way to the knees, rooted. Feeling the elbows, or if you have the forearms and palms on the earth and the forehead, nice and supported. Take about 3 more deep breaths. Good. If you have the thumbs behind the neck, go ahead and bring those hands back down to the earth. And then we're going to slowly make our way all the way back up to that tabletop. Bring those knees back together. Good. Take a cat-cow here. Reset the spine. Inhale, tip and tail up. Exhale, round through the spine. Inhale, tip it up. And exhale, round. Beautiful. From here, come to your neutral spine. We're going to get into the back of the shoulder blade a little bit. This one's called thread the needle. So we're going to take this right hand. It's going to face the ceiling. It's going to come right underneath that left arm. And you're going to start to twist the spine towards your left. See if you can get the right ear and the right shoulder to come down to the mat. Hips are high on this one. Again, if you're finding that that's not making it all the way to the floor, use another pillow or prop to bring it a little closer to you. So we're just trying to get the shoulder to be in contact here. And then what you can do is take that left hand and press maybe a little further into the floor to roll open that right scapula. Or if you want to even incorporate a little bit of a opening for that left pec, you can take that left arm up and around the lower back. So you're rolling this left shoulder head up and keep pressing down into the mat with that right shoulder. And take a few big deep breaths here. Notice how the inhales really start to open those tight spots, and how the exhales allow it to contract and release. Take 1 more breath in. Nice, long exhale. If you have that baby bind, bring that left palm back to the earth, and then slowly press yourself back up into that tabletop position. Good, nice neutral spine. Take 2 rounds of cat-cows here. Inhale, tip and tail up. Exhale, round. Feel the difference between the left and the right side. Inhale, tip it up. Exhale, round. Come back into your neutral spine. We're going to take that threading needle on the opposite side. Left palm faces the ceiling, comes right underneath that right armpit, starts to reach towards that right wall as you rotate the spine down to the earth, or the pillow if you need to bring the earth closer. And then once you're landed, hips are high, you can press into the mat with that right palm to maybe get a little deeper opening. Stay there and breathe. Or if you want a little bit of an opening for that right pec, wrap and baby bind that right arm around and let that right shoulder really go back. Breathe into all these spaces that you encounter on this side. Deep breaths. It's a little hard here when we're kind of twisting and constricting the diaphragm, so you can't get the breath as deep as we could in a regular seated position, but just keep sending the air towards the lower lobes as best you can. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And if you have that baby bind, maybe slowly release that side. Press into the mat with that right palm and draw yourself back into your tabletop position. Good, a little bit cat-cow here. Inhale, tip head and tail up. Exhale, round. Good, one more time. Inhale, up. And exhale, round. Good. From here, go ahead and come to a neutral spine. And then just take, I'm going to come sideways so you guys can see a little bit better here. You can stay exactly where you are. I'm just going to turn. You can take your right toes long behind you and set them down on your mat. And you're going to be pressing back through that right heel. Keep turning on that right quad so you're nice and strong in the quad and glute on the right leg. And just feel that nice stretch in the calf here. Take a deep breath in. And then inhale, lift that leg straight on up and cross it all the way across the left leg. See if you can bring the toes down to the earth. I have a bolster in the way. There we go. And then inhale here and go ahead and look over that left shoulder back at those right toes. You'll feel a deep stretch up the right side of the body. Take a few breaths in there. Big inhale. Exhale, slowly come all the way back. Bring that right knee down. Maybe wag your tail a little bit here. And then we'll take that on the other side. Take that left leg straight back. Toes come to your mat. Press back through that left heel. Press the floor away. Nice and loose in the shoulders here. They're descending down the back. Crown of the head is facing forward. Feel that stretch in that left calf. Take a deep breath in here. Turn on that left glute and quad. And then lift that leg straight back. And then we're going to cross that left leg as far as we can towards the right. And let those toes come down to the mat. Big breath in, lengthen the front of the body. And then exhale, a little curve towards your right. Gaze back at those left toes. Big stretch along the intercostal muscles on the left side. Breathe into that side and that hip. Take one more deep breath in. And on the exhale, release that side. Go ahead and bring that left knee down. Take a cat-cow here. Inhale, tip head and tail up. Exhale, round. Inhale, tip up. And exhale, round. Beautiful. Come to that neutral spine. And then we're going to just plunk onto one hip or the other, whatever one's calling to you. And come all the way to your glutes. And then we're going to have our strap nearby. This one is going to get into stretching into the neck and the legs and hips. So you want to make sure that you have a strap that's a little wider than shoulder distance and something that you can secure. So if it's a belt, you just want to have it on a loop so that it's secured like that. And then we're going to keep the metal part off to the side because that might be a little irritating for the back of the head. And I'm going to come sideways so you can see how we get into this one here. So we'll come all the way down to our backs, have your knees bent. You're going to take that buckle off to the side, and then you're going to take one end of the strap around the foot, and from here, this is where the tricky part comes in, you're going to take this part right behind the occipital lobe here behind the head. So maybe a little bend in the knee, and then you can get that strap around the back of the head. Make sure it's nice and secured here. It's right about where the tips of the ears are. Just kind of move it around so it feels like it's secured, like your head is in a little hammock. And then you can release the arms. This can feel really good. You can stay right here, maybe gently moving the neck side to side. If you would like to incorporate a little more of a stretch with the leg involved in the neck, take a deep breath here. And then you're going to take the right leg towards the right, and you're going to feel into that left trap. So go nice and slow. You can counterweight this a little bit by letting that left knee fall to the side, keeping the hips as even on the mat as you can. Just breathe into the space that's opening in that inner left thigh right thigh and left trap. Soften the head and the neck. You might start to feel the weight of the leg as that inner thigh starts to soften, starts to descend a little closer to the earth. Take about 3 more deep breaths here. One more breath. And then you're going to inhale, bring that foot all the way back. Neck is in neutral. And then if you need to readjust, just kind of make sure it's still on there. Then maybe straighten that left leg and then take that right leg over towards the left. You'll feel this deep, deep stretch in the outer IT band on that right side. And a nice little stretch here for the right trap. Soften and breathe. Again, feeling fully supported here. Take 2 more deep breaths. Big inhale. Exhale, slowly bring that back to center. Now, we're going to get the other side. So maybe just bring your hands behind your head to hold it there. You can bring that left leg up and just kind of slide it in to replace the right. Bring that right sole of the foot down to the ground, bend knee. Arms come back out to the sides. Take a deep breath here and then exhale. You can just stay here maybe with a very easy little gentle tick-tock. Or you might choose to take that deeper version with the left leg going all the way to the left. Inner thigh stretch in the left inner thigh, and the right trap is getting a stretch. Right knee gently falls open towards the right, counterweighting our hips. Notice if you're holding any tension here in the jaw or anywhere in the body, just let that soften. Let the weight of this left leg do all the work. Take 2 more deep breaths. Good. On your inhale, if that leg is falling to the left, slowly bring it to center. Go ahead and allow that right leg to lengthen. Take a deep breath. And then exhale, take it over across the midline towards your right. Feel the outer IT band, feeling that lower left back, left trap. Breathe and soften here. Notice the sensations that arise. Take 2 more deep breaths. Good. On the inhale, slowly bring it back to center. And then bring your hands behind the head, bend that left knee, and go ahead and remove that strap. And take that off to the side. Draw both knees into your chest. And let's just draw some big circles on the ceiling with our knees. Holding onto the shins or the knees here, just rolling out that lower back. And you might want to do a gentle little tick-tock side to side of the head if that feels good. All that stretching that we just did. And the next time you come up through center, pause, and take those circles the opposite way a couple rounds. Nice. And then from here, go ahead and allow your feet and your hands to come down to the earth. You're going to see if you can graze your heels with your fingertips. See if you can get them to touch. If not, it's okay. The knees are hip width apart here. Palms and triceps press down into the earth. Go ahead and that lower curvature of your back, press it down into your mat. So there's a little bit of a tilt in the pelvis here. And then go ahead and press your hips up. The weight gets taken up into the shoulders here, in the back of the head. And then as you exhale, roll that spine from the top of the neck all the way down to the tail. Allow that curve to come back into the spine. We're going to take that 4 more times. Press that lower back into the mat. Press into the feet. You can go as high as you want to here, or as low as you want to. Exhale, roll that spine all the way back down and release. 2 more, press into the lower back. Inhale everything up. Exhale, let it drop. Good, last one here. Press all the way up. And exhale all the way down. These are really good for opening the chest, very good for the hip flexors and getting around all those little stabilizing muscles around the knee joints. Let your knees come towards your shoulders. For happy baby, we can either just wrap the arms around the backs of the legs here, maybe a little rock, or if it feels good, you could take the elbows to the insides of your legs, maybe grabbing onto your ankles, shins, maybe you make it to the feet. Let the feet face the ceiling here and think about drawing your knees down to the earth. And then you can stay static or maybe a little rock side to side. You see babies doing this all the time, kind of forget how to do it when we're older. It's very good hip opener. Feel like grounding happening in that lower back. So we're thinking about lengthening that tail towards the front of the room here. Shoulders and head are nice and heavy on the mat. And we're just going to take another 2 deep breaths. Good, and then from here, go ahead and bring those knees back together, and we're going to take a final twist here to seal off our practice. So wrapping our right arm around the shins, you can have that left arm go long or goalpost for a little deeper stretch. Take a deep breath in, and then guide these stacked knees towards your right. So you're just going to roll up onto that right hip,
Notice though that left shoulder, we want to keep it attached to the mat. If it starts to lift, then you might want to take a blanket or a pillow underneath the outer right hip so you have a nice little place to land on. And just soften here. Eye gaze might go towards this left extended hand. So then we have again that complete twist in the spine, the crown of the head all the way down to our tail. Deep breaths, feeling this nice opening across the heart. Soften everything here. Take 2 more deep breaths. On the inhale, allow that left knee to come on up first. Right knee follows. Realign the spine and center. And then we're going to take that twist on the other side. So if you need a prop, you can put it under here. Otherwise, wrap that left arm around the shins. The right arm goes along our goalpost. Deep breath. And then slowly begin to let those stacked knees fall towards your left. Maybe eye gaze goes towards the right fingertips. And we breathe. Take 2 more deep breaths. Good. On the next inhale, allow the right knee to come on up first, left knee will follow. Good. Give yourself a final hug here. Maybe drawing the nose towards the knees. Make yourself into a tight little ball. Squeeze. Big breath in. And on the exhale, let it go. Let your legs go long on the mat. You can have the legs together or wide. You can have arms wherever they feel good for you. Just kind of settle in. I'm going to stay seated. If you have a blanket, it might be nice to cover yourself. I'm just going to take you through a little bit of a autogenics here, a little guided meditation for about a minute.